Good morning. This is the last day in Las Vegas. And yesterday we were supposed to relax, but we did a lot of stuff yesterday. But now we are going to go to Excalibur, which is right over here. And we're going to go to their bus rotunda by foot. It's so much faster than walking through that entire building. And we grab some Starbucks and we have a Hoover Dam Tour. So excited. Okay, finally made it to the Excalibur. We got our breakfast. How you feeling this morning, honey?
What?
How you feeling?
Okay.
You tired?
A little.
I am in so much pain in my knees and my legs. Here's the Excalibur Hotel again. Pretty cool. In about 40 minutes, we're supposed to be getting on that bus to head over to the Hoover Dam Tour. We're both pretty excited about it, and then tonight we go home. So we'll won't be too tired tonight for that red eye. We got here way too early. Now it's like 60 degrees outside, and poor Steve-O is shivering. He is a true Floridian. Are you cold, honey?
Yeah.
Our bus still isn't here yet, so.
More humidity.
Yeah, we just drank our coffee, ate our food, now we're just waiting for the bus. Finally on the bus. You're freezing our butts off. I mean, I was fine, but this one doesn't like the cold as much as I do. But we're about to enjoy our comedy tour. Yay!
Sober pass, and then that will get you your permit to get into town. In the late 60s, they did legalize the sale and consumption of alcohol out here in Boulder City, but Boulder City is one of two cities in Nevada that you are not allowed to gamble. And if you don't believe me, we're not allowed to bet on it because we're about to enter Boulder City limits. So I'm gonna point out our left window. It looks like a big old oasis up on the hill there. All those trees and everything. That is a golf course. It's called Cascada. It's a private golf course, invite only in the beginning, and now it's open to the public, but it's $400 a round.
Oh.
Wow.
Out our right, all of this desert land is government land set aside for companies to buy solar. So there's multiple different solar arrays. There's like 4. But the one that's parallel to the bus here that's driving along, that the highway is driving through, this is MGM solar array. Now, today, there are 20 dams on the Colorado River. Las Vegas gets its power from the Davis Dam now. That they would leave, just like any other job. They're gonna go work. Why would people stay here? Well, tourism, of course. In 1931, they did have a free enterprise portion of Main Street, so anybody could open up their own business permit or own business. And one of the first business permits awarded out here in Boulder City in 1931 was a tourist camp. So the same year construction began, tourism started, and it hasn't stopped since. So today, people are here mostly for tourism and also a little retirement community. Now there is one dingbat home that still exists here in town, but everybody else rebuilt their homes in the 60s or the 80s. So there's a lot of older homes still here, but they cost around the same as a new development home in Boulder City or in Vegas. So a new home up on the hill that we saw them building, those are gonna run mid 400s. About our right window, we'll see gray apartment buildings. So out our right, now these apartment buildings were originally the dormitories. So you'll see that they're working buildings. So 142 men in each of these bunkhouses. So these were the single men lived. Out our left window, we'll see the original Department of Water and Power building. And you can tell they did this in a hurry because they didn't even scrape the mortar off the bricks. He's not Mr. COVID. He is Alabama. Alabama was an older gentleman who aged out of the physical labor, but he still needed to work. And so he found a job that nobody else wanted to do. He found a duty to sweep up the duty out of the outhouses. So you got a statue there. So we're in downtown historic Boulder City. A lot of these buildings were the original businesses owned by 6 companies. They built the Boulder Theater as a way to play movies, and tourism was booming for the dam. And so all of the footage that they were collecting, they played movies out here 24/7. 24/7. People wanted to watch the movies at night? No, men wanted to sleep in the nice dark air-conditioned theater. It was an air-conditioned movie theater, and so the men would buy tickets to sleep there. And eventually each room had its own air conditioning and radiator. There are 82 original rooms, 20 still available today. And it was built for the celebrities out of Los Angeles. So Howard Hughes and Shirley Temple were 2 of the celebrities to stay there.
Oh, wow.
Shirley came out here with her parents when she was a child, and she and my daughter actually went to the same school.
Cool.
Shirley was never enrolled, but the very first school she ever visited was Boulder City Elementary. And she got to tour the school, and she was quoted as saying, "Wow, school is wonderful." And then her parents were like, "Yeah, ain't that nice, kid. Back to work." So she was never enrolled. But out our right, we have the Boulder Theater here. So that kind of wraps up. I'm going to point out a couple more buildings as we head up over the hill, but that kind of wraps up my Act 1, as I like to say. These juniper trees cover the globe, right? And they have little berries. These blue berries are the main botanical used to flavor gin. So if we wanted to collect some, smash them up, put them in a bag, we could make some toilet gin at the end of the bus. They have some hooch. County jail, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We have the juniper Lopez trees, and they are something to see, man. Every 12 years, there's this bird that tries to make a nest there. It's called Ben Affleck. Coming up at our right on the corner of Park Place in Utah, we're going to see this brick building. So this brick home here that they're working on, they're doing some landscaping. They're getting rid of the grass because you get a $3 per square foot rebate if you get rid of your grass right now and change to desert landscaping. But this building was built in 1931, so it's 90 years old. It is 1,900 square feet. These are the government homes. So if you work for the government or the management of 6 companies, those were your homes. That home cost $1 million.
Wow.
It sold for $1 million last year. What you are buying is history. Making the state flower marijuana.
Yay.
We're seeing some wildflowers out here today. You'll have some white, purple, and yellow wildflowers. The pink flowers are from the prickly pear cacti. Beautiful pink flowers there on the prickly pear, which we've been seeing a lot of these bloom. We haven't had flowers out here in the desert in 10 years.
Wow.
So you guys are seeing it in a rare form. What look like dry riverbeds out our left and right, that's flood washes. So when it rains, it floods. And a lot of the plant life will collect near these flood washes because that's where water once was or will be. Supposedly, with all the rain that we've had, the desert tortoises are making a comeback. So something I've yet to see in the wild, but we do have desert tortoises out here. We have ground squirrels, jackrabbits. On the not nice end, we have tarantulas, the Mojave green rattlesnake, scorpion. 2 years ago. In 2020, we went 240 days straight without rain. And so that led up into this time last year, May of 2021, Lake Mead was dropping at a rate of 1 foot per week. We've raised a foot this last week. So that time last year, 2 years ago, 1 foot per week. If it gets too low, it hits what's called dead pool. Dead pool is at Lake Mead is at 950 feet in elevation. So we were less than 100 feet from hitting dead pool.
Dang.
If it hits dead pool, the water can no longer pass through the turbines fast enough to... They did an autopsy, and one of the barrels was a body.
Oh my God.
He had a gunshot wound to the head. He had clothes on from the 80s, and they say he died of natural causes. That was first of 7 bodies last year. So 7 bodies found last year here at Lake Mead. I forgot to mention earlier, this is where we get 90% of our drinking water.
Oh.
Between 2006 and 2016, during that 10-year period, Lake Mead was named the deadliest national park in the country. 300 people died during that 10-year period.
Yikes.
Now, like 30 people a year. Now, number 1 cause of death, drowning, motor accidents, and hypothermia, but pretty high up there during that 10-year period, bodies. So of those 10 a year, half of them were bodies every year. Finding bodies here for another 10 years after the dam was completed, so there's also that. I'm going to explain more why, and you'll all hopefully be agreeing with me. Now, we're going to head into Black Canyon here. Just got off the highway for 80 years. This road we're about to turn onto was the original highway between Nevada and Arizona. And so we'd be turning into around 4 hours worth of traffic right now. We are entering Black Canyon and Black Mountain here because of the black volcanic rock on top of the red sandstone. So hundreds of millions of years ago, this whole area was underneath the ocean. And the sandstone had a volcanic eruption cover it. Tectonic plates shift and change, and we get mountains here, exposing all of this area to air, and the iron in the sandstone has oxidized or rusted. So we have the beautiful red rock covered with black volcanic rock. Now at the bottom of the canyon, and the reason why they moved the dam here is some of the hardest bedrock known to man. It's called schist. And yes, I said that correctly. It needs 1.8 million years, 1.8 billion years of time, and mountains 6 miles tall worth of pressure to form. Because after all that time, heat and pressure, schist happens. We're here for a dam. So we'll do a quick stop here. What they're going to do is the security officer is going to walk up on the bus. They'll walk through the back, make sure nobody dropped a bomb in the toilet. Funny joke. They'll check the overhead bins, so they may have you pop them open. It'll help them out. Check the overhead bins. Mike O'Callahan is from Nevada. He served in the Korean War and came home a decorated Korean War veteran. In the 1970s election, he won a seat in the state Senate of Nevada in an upset victory. Up and down the canyon walls here, suspended on a piece of wood and rope. No OSHA out here. No. They had a bag of dynamite on their hip and a 44-pound jackhammer between their legs. That's what she said. As they would and blast and remove that rock. Now all that rock ends up down at the bottom of the canyon, but they need to remove that and expose the bedrock. So ultimately, 2 years to drill the tunnels, and while they're doing that, they're blasting away the rock. Now to give them that dry working area, they piled up dirt and rock on the north and south end of the canyon. So up front by me, they piled dirt and rock, and that forced all of the water of the Colorado River to run through the outer Nevada tunnel. And then they put a secondary cofferdam, a pile of dirt and rock, on the south end of the site here to prevent any water from rushing up into their working area. Is everybody with me so far?
Yes.
So that's ultimately the diversion, the first 2 years. Diversion and cleaning off the canyon walls. From there, they need to remove all of that dirt from the bottom of the canyon. And to do that, trucks, non-stop, for 13 months, a year straight, removed dirt from the bottom of the canyon and dumped it here in the canyon walls. In just a minute, we're going to see a high scalar statue out our left. Essentially, from the high scalar statue on, you'll be able to walk all this by foot, 5 feet at a time. There's a few rumors about the concrete. Number one, is it still curing today? No. Number two, any human remains? Also no. Now, the cable system that we just drove up underneath was installed to lower pieces of pipe down into the canyon below. That cable system was built in the 30s and it still functions today. Highest paid, highest skilled workers. They only picked the best workers to do the pouring of the concrete because they have to pour them 8 yards in every 78 seconds. 8 yards of concrete is around the same size of a concrete mixing truck. So a concrete mixing truck load every 78 seconds. As concrete cures, it heats up and expands. Wide bricks in one shot and let it cure, it would have taken 125 years for each brick to cure. But they didn't do that. You can't pour all this concrete and not have your base layer cured. When you pour concrete, normally you line your concrete with rebar, and rebar gives it its shape and its structural skeleton. However, they need to cool and cure the concrete with diameter tunnels. This goes 600 feet straight down and 4,000 feet straight back through the canyon wall. If you're to go down this tunnel inside before you hit the exit, you will see a set of steel doors. And outside these steel doors are armed security officers. If you were to make your way past these armed security officers and through those steel doors is where you'll find the Decepticons, the Autobots, and the rest of the Transformers. Welcome to Arizona. So again, they drilled those tunnels standing on trucks, pneumatic air power drills, blasting dynamite and removing the dirt with shovels. These intake towers sit above the base of the bedrock a few hundred feet. They are carved out in shelves and they are straight up from the cantilever towers. The cantilever towers are removing the power up out of the canyon, but also they need to keep these wires away from the walls because there's so much iron and ferrous conductive material here in that red rock. If the wires get too close, it's going to arc and short out the generators. The rural parts here. But today, the Hoover Dam only operates at 23%. So it really doesn't produce that much power anymore. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I gave myself more time. Yes? Transformers, Vegas Vacation, Fools Rush In, San Andreas, the last season of season 3 of, I've been out here when season 3 of Westworld, they filmed out here season 3 of Westworld. They recently filmed the new Equalizer movie. I know 50 Cent and Sylvester Stallone are stars in that one, and they did scenes out here, I believe. I saw a police chase, or I mean like a motorcycle chase scene happening out here, filming. So movies are shot all the time. We line across the river, and you'll see a landslide leaning down next to the river, and that's where they diverted the river through. So that was the original entrance for the diversion tunnel. The northern cofferdam, the pile of dirt and rocks that forced the water through that tunnel, is still there today. So underneath that white fence line in the water, if you were to dive down like pretty much directly underneath the water there, you would see a big old pile of dirt and rocks. That acts as a way to prevent sediment. They just blasted closed and blocked up the entrance of the diversion tunnel and converted the entrance into the spillway on the Nevada side. Exactly like this here. All of the artwork was done in 46 to 47. So in 1935, when Roosevelt was president and the dam was completed, he dedicated this as the beautiful Boulder Dam, because he also hated Hoover. It wasn't until 1947, when Congress officially created the Lake Mead National Recreational Area, they designated that, and during that, in that bill, they also said, also, it's the Hoover Dam. So in 1947 is when it officially became the Hoover Dam. The artwork was all done during that time as well. A lot of the artwork out here is done in the Art Deco stylings. Oscar Hansen was bringing it from its original state, or trying to. But the winged figures of the Republic, they're sitting on black diorite rock. When they installed these, they didn't want to scratch that black rock that they're sitting on top of, so they put them on ice and let the ice melt and lower those statues into place. Any other questions? Bueller? Get into that building, you need your visitor center ticket, but that's the original visitor center. I believe it's open. Most of the time it's not, but I've heard lately they've had it open. So make sure that you have your ticket when you're done here. If you want to walk across the street and go to the original exhibit center, you're gonna keep your ticket, so hold on to your ticket. Out our left is the exit for the visitor center. So how it will work is we're gonna drive.
Got our tickets. Hopefully they don't fly away. Yeah. Elevator time. TL.
64 meters. And you guys are mostly on the strip, right? Las Vegas Strip. You see that big Ferris wheel? From the top to the bottom is this distance that we're traveling right now.
Oh wow.
So this ride's gonna take us 70 seconds. Along the way, you're probably gonna feel pressure building up in your ears. Dish yawn, swallow, continue chewing gum, sip some water. That should help out. Once we get down below, I'm gonna walk everybody into one of the original 4 diversion tunnels, and I'll show you how they use them to build a dam. Second stop will be out, set right in front of you in the farmland. Take pictures, post them on your Facebook pages, and make your friends.
I know.
Steven!
If you're curious, this tunnel is always 68, 69 degrees.
Ooh. Should have brought our jackets. Oh. Stairs.
Okay, there's a couple of steps along the way.
It's not that bad.
Down before you walk in there.
Pretty cool.
Right on this my elevator coming down here. My name is Eno, and I'm going to be your guide for this stop and the next 2 stops. So before I start this 4-minute presentation, I'm going to give you guys a quick orientation to let you know where you are. We start upstairs in the visitor center. We rode that elevator 70 seconds. We landed right here, and we walked right inside this particular diversion tunnel. So approximately 537 feet below the Earth's surface in this part of the world, there are 4 parallel diversion tunnels. There are 2 in the Nevada Canyon Wallside River. There are 2 in the Arizona Canyon Wallside River. We are in the inner Nevada diversion tunnel. So all these tunnels are 5 stories tall. It doesn't seem like it, but this building is sitting on top of a 30-foot diameter penstock pipe. That pipe just took a sneak peek out that left window. It's 3 stories tall. And it is bringing water from the lake in that direction, making its way through the rocks, underneath this building, towards the power plant through that. So if that's 30 feet tall, we have another 20 feet of clearance to the top, so that's 5 stories tall tunnel. And again, we're in the center of this 1 mile long tunnel. So back in the 1930s, when they decided to build the Hoover Dam right here between the Black Canyon walls of the Colorado River, before they could start construction in this project, they had to get rid of something temporarily. If you guessed the Colorado River, you're absolutely correct. Because as you well know, you cannot build a dam in the middle of a river. So the plan was to go upstream about a half a mile from where the dam stands today, pick spots against the Black Canyon walls in Nevada, Arizona, roughly 12 feet higher than the river's edge, and then by using nearly 5 million pounds of dynamite, started blasting these big diversion tunnels. 2 of these tunnels went into the Nevada Canyon Wallside River, 2 went into the Arizona Canyon Wallside River. These tunnels went into the rocks, stayed in the rocks about 4,000 feet, and out downstream. And the idea was to divert the Colorado River into these diversion tunnels to move that water around the construction site so we can get it dry so we can build this dam. But how do you do that when the natural flow of the river continues between the canyon walls? Well, the answer were cofferdams, and you saw those in the movie upstairs, but they actually had 2 cofferdams on site. They had a 100 feet tall upper cofferdam constructed just behind the entrances to the diversion tunnels. Then they had a 60 feet tall lower cofferdam downstream. Now, cofferdams consist of rock, dirt, chunks of concrete. When it was piled high enough and thick enough and spanned the entire width of the Colorado River, then as the river is flowing from north to south, it would bounce off of it and be naturally redirected into the nearest open diversion tunnel to move that water around the construction site. The lower cofferdam is only job really was to prevent any backwater. Volcano called a Hamlin Cleopatra volcano. It erupted just north of where Lake Edith, and it deposited all this rock around. This rock's solid, durable, sturdy. That's one of the reasons why it chose this area to build the dam here, because it's supported by this nice rock. But the volcanic rock is still porous. And no matter where you are in the world, if you dig deep enough, guess what you hit? Water. So the water sources that you see here, they're natural springs. The natural springs seep out. We collect them on these water channels to your left and right, and we just send it right back onto the road. Now sometimes the natural springs will have a mind of their own. They'll start seeping from up above. We don't necessarily like that, but when they do, we just match them with these canal systems, and we collect that water off our heads. It keeps us nice and dry.
So this elevator ride is going to be a whole lot shorter than the last one. We just started moving. And we're here. All right.
And we should put your shoulder.
It's filled
So excited!
Pictures. Think of now, there's one for another presentation.
Oh.
Elevator. Think of way back to the top. patience. Next stop is our last stop. So the next stop is our last stop. It's the top of the dam. Here you're going to have 2 floors to check out on your own. The first floor is the museum and the restrooms and the water fountains. At the end of the first floor are the stairs or elevators. They'll take you up to the second floor, the observation deck. That is the best view on an outdoor balcony with unobstructed views of the lake, river, dam, and bridge. So make sure you see both floors before you leave, okay? When you leave, you'll be leaving from the top as well.
Count of 3, we're going to both touch the dam. Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. We've officially touched it. Alright guys, so we are here at the Hoover Dam, and as you can see right behind us, we are right at it, and you can see that we are touching it. So I just FaceTimed my mom, and she was so happy that we FaceTimed her while we were still here. So she really wants to see this place, so hopefully soon she'll be able to see it. But it was a lot of fun. We went underground and we got to do this tunnel tour. I got to see the power plant and got to see how it worked. And now we're just gonna come here, relax, and go to the gift shop and head out for lunch. Thanks for joining us, guys. Enjoy the views.
Up and over the canyon walls.
What do you think, baby? There's that bridge we were just on.
These are cantilever towers, designed to ensure that the wires do not touch the walls of the canyon and short out. Now look downriver, midway on the canyon wall. Feel free to stay and take all the pictures you wish. The next presentation is located across the street at the flagpole.
Cool.
Above the valve houses, stretching across the canyon, are 6 3.5-inch diameter cables. If you follow the cables to the right,